All right, man. We are back. So it's been that kind of a week, guys, and it has definitely been that kind of a day. Here we are doing it again. Our streaming platform switched over to the Mars, whatever. If you use StreamYard, you know what it is, but you have to select your orientation. Anyways, where we were was talking about the Jets versus Patriots game. We talked about Travion Henderson and his performance. That was a nice 30 burger to see to start the week. If you had Travion Henderson, I had him in our manager league. Our we call it the brass balls, and it's a variant
I,
of what the
I
gauntlet league
think we're
is.
I think we're still screwed up on YouTube.
It says now Chris is covering my. Todd Barber says that works. Chris is on the whole screen, so I love that. What if we do this, Ethan? How's that? It might be Ethan.
Oh, your wife
Okay.
says no, I'm not. So he's just trolling. He's just trolling.
Who, Ethan? No, come on. um. Anyways, I had Travion Henderson in the brass balls, and it was nice to see that 30 burger to start the week. Very comforting. And Stephon Diggs continues to be the one of the prime focuses there. Chris, do you have a lot of Drake May?
I don't. I didn't think. I'm always worried about. For one, I'm worried about rookies, and then for second, I'm worried about sophomore slumps because we had Stroud last year. I was the only second year player I was really targeting was Jaden Daniels, and he's the one that ends up, out of the second year or the second year players that hasn't really lived up due to injury and whatnot. So yeah, I kind of missed out on that. I won't miss out going further though. Drake May he's a beast.
Yeah, I'm with you, dude. I had a lot of Jaden Daniels, and it's been pretty bad there too. That definitely should make its way to our ugly segment at some point because, I mean, he was the 103 in most drafts. Some people were taking him 101 overall, but it was usually he was the QB3 off the board, and then sometimes Jamar Chase went in front of him. Occasionally Bijan, but Jaden Daniels is going to be on a lot of losing rosters. We'll move on to the Sunday night game, the Lions versus the Eagles. Now, the Lions are going to be talked about later in the segment during another portion. But for this game, what I noticed was a lot of targets for these stud receivers. You see A.J. Brown had 11 targets. Amon-Ra actually had 12 targets. Didn't show up on the scoreboard. But A.J. Brown at 7 receptions turned it into 49 total yards, no touchdown. Got away with a little OPI to end that game. Just kind of an underperformance overall for most of the studs here. Chris, I don't know. Tell me what you saw about this Lions versus Eagles game. Tell me what you think about the Eagles.
Well, they didn't really impress. I mean, they had such good field position because of what the Lions were doing. The Lions were going for it on fourth down. They went for it so many times. They turned the ball over 5 times on downs, and the Eagles still only won by 1 score. You know what I'm saying? A.J. Brown, 7 catches for 49. I mean, that's not really awe-inspiring. He complains, he gets the ball. He doesn't do anything with the ball. And then everybody else around him, Smith and Goddard, they don't even get targeted. So,
Yeah.
I mean, you got to do what you got to do to win.
Yeah, that's a lot of what I saw too. It seems like this was supposed to be a squeaky wheel game, and they really did kind of force feed A.J. Brown, and then it just didn't pan out. I mean, it kind of seems if I'm judging him off the eye test that he is kind of dropping off. I mean, I know he did have a couple of cleanup surgeries on both knees a couple seasons ago, so I don't know how bad that damage was there. But if we're talking about an older receiver, he's probably going to hit his prime and get over the hill a little quicker than your average receiver, and that would put him at this time frame, and we might be watching just the end of a beastly career here. It'd be nice to see him put up a couple numbers to end the season, restore some faith if you have him, but it's been hard being an AJ Brown owner this year. On Sunday night, we had the Cowboys versus the Raiders. There's not a whole lot to say here. This was kind of just a beatdown. I think you guys saw it coming. Geno Smith is not good at football. I don't know how much longer he's gonna, have that leeway. I think he's locked in for another couple of years too, right? You know anything about his contract, Chris?
Yeah, he's got a couple years left, and a lot of dead money if they were to cut him. So he's going to be there for another couple years. Get used to it.
George Pickens is a guy that to start the offseason, I was kind of avoiding when he got traded to the Cowboys. I was a big CeeDee Lamb guy, so I kind of downplayed his importance there. I was wrong. He's done nothing but perform. You see CeeDee Lamb with 17 fantasy points, and he left the touchdown on the table. Well, that was Dak's fault, right? That was a wide open CeeDee Lamb and an errant pass. But George Pickens walks away with 29 points, and he's the one that's been putting up the numbers. It seems like he's the guy to own in Dallas. Hot take, George Pickens is the one and Lamb is the two. What do you think about that, Chris?
I think they're both ones, and I think Pickens deserves to be the wide receiver one somewhere. I mean, I'm not even sure if he's got a contract. He's going to be asking for a lot of money. I think he's only on this season deal in Dallas, so they're going to have to dump the truck in front of his house to pay off what he's going to want.
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't really believe that, by the way. I'm still a big CeeDee Lamb guy. You see how talented the guy is. I mean, he was wide open for that second touch, and it would have been a different story there. But I was satisfied with Trey Tucker because I needed 12 points to stay alive in one of these gauntlet leagues, and I got 14 out of them. So he saved me. Thank you. I'll be grateful for the next couple of weeks until I need you to do it again. But we'll get past this game and get into what we like to do, the good, the bad, the ugly. I'll pass it over to you, Chris, for your good. Tell us what you saw.
My good was Sean Tucker for the week. 19 carries, 106 yards. He had 34 receiving yards, 3 total touchdowns, 34 fantasy points. I didn't see this coming from anywhere. It probably won't happen again this year, and that's what's expected because that's just a wild
put him on the shelf.
Wild point. Oh yeah. So that was my good. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, he had a game like this last year, if I remember right, where he came out and he dominated and then immediately went back into the shadows. All right, so you're bad, Chris?
My bad was Sam Darnold. He had 4 interceptions, 0 touchdowns. His second stinker of a game. If the last game was bad with 6 point whatever points it was, this one was worse because he only had 4 something. I think he's really seeing ghosts out there. What do you think?
I think you nailed it, and I think again this is something that we saw last season, and we've seen in his past where he, you gain confidence in him, and then he just reminds you of his downside and what he can and can't do. But that Rams defense is legit. Those are 2 legit defenses, and we saw Darnold fold, and we saw Stafford, stay the course and stuff. But yeah, I agree with you. I think he might be, in his own head out there. What about your ugly?
Yeah, my ugly were the Detroit Lions. So here we're gonna break it down even further. They failed to score 10 points in a game for the first time since October of 2023. They had 6 turnovers on the day, 5 of them on downs. Goff completed 37% of his passes. 5 of his passes were batted down at the line of scrimmage. Amon-Ra St. Brown with 2 catches on 12 targets. He was a complete non-factor. I think this goes to show that the Philadelphia defense is for real, and the fact that Philadelphia had such good field position and they didn't take care of their opportunities too probably means that the defense for Detroit is for real too, or Philadelphia's offense just really is that bad. But Detroit, yeah, you got to start making better decisions with your coaching staff on what to do on 4th down, because if at first you don't succeed, it's not try again. It was try again.
Yeah, you nailed it again, man. That's what I saw too. It's just a Dan Campbell way. Just balls to the wall. Let's go out there and get it. And when it works, it's great. When it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And we saw a couple of tush pushes that didn't work too, right? I think they actually called a false start on one of those, didn't they? Was I imagining that? But
finally,
I think you're right.
Finally,
the Philadelphia.
Finally. They showed the
Philadelphia.
They showed. I was going to say. Oh.
We have a lag, Chris. That we have a little bit of a delay here. That's what's going on. That's okay. We know how to navigate that. I'm going to let you finish up your statement right now, and then I'll carry on. Go ahead.
All right. I was going to say that the defensive lineman for Detroit, if you noticed, he had his hand over the ball in the neutral zone, and the Philadelphia offensive player was tapping his hand with his own hand, and the ref saw that, and that's what they called the false start on. So, yeah, that's a good way to beat them.
So yeah, that's good to see in a sense. I mean, if the tush push, I think if it's within the rules, just like we always talk about here at Ballsville, if it's in the rules and it's not defined, then that just means that rule isn't written or not written well. And players in the NFL, just like players in these leagues, if it's not outlined, they will use that to their advantage. And it's hard to not blame players when they do try to skirt the rules. But if it's not well written, not detailed, like our writings are detailed, and there's nothing to violate, so you can't really say, hey, you can't do that. So until it's banned, I think other teams are just gonna have to get used to stopping it. And all I want with the tush push is that it's officiated fairly. Do it right if you're gonna get away with it. So. For myself, my good was Bryce Young. After a couple of stinkers, he came out and scored 37 fantasy points. They put the shellacking on the Falcons, and they shut out the Falcons earlier in the season. It was a high-scoring game, a lot of points from Bijan and stuff. But Bryce Young walking away with 37 points, 480 or 48 yards, and 3 touchdowns. My bad was Josh Jacobs. Yeah, he got injured. That's not why he's the bad. The bad is because he's been kind of playing through injury all season long. He was on a lot of succeeding rosters. Despite that, he continued to put up numbers. Started off with a lot of touchdowns, and then this week he goes out there. He puts up 4 points. Then he exits the game. And every manager who was relying on him for our games, he's on a lot of cut rosters. And that's pretty bad. But just the injury itself, and if he comes back, do you even trust him going forward? They don't have the best schedule, and if he's playing through something and Emmanuel Wilson's looking the way he does, I don't think that Josh Jacobs can be trusted for the rest of the year, even if he is healthy, because he's been healthy for the last few weeks, and continued to miss time in the game with these injuries. So that's my bad. And the ugly is the Chargers. Sorry, Sarah. We'll let you talk about it tomorrow. But they got stomped. They put up 6 points. Herbert was 10 completions for 84 yards and interception. We know the offensive line isn't great, but you do have weapons out there, and to be unable to move that ball, it was just so inefficient. If you're watching the game, everything you saw, it was just, I mean, you're lucky if you got a first down. It was just a gross performance overall. It's hard to pinpoint, anybody's single performance. It was a team effort. That's why they made the list.
That Herbert
but that's it,
stat
guys.
line sounds like a field stat line.
Yeah, and he could have easily made this list. I think the benching is in itself pretty ugly. We'll see. Tyrod Taylor, waiver pickups. We do this every week, guys. It's more interesting during the season. For this portion of the game and the next portion where it's best ball, it's not really going to be so highlighted. But we do want to talk about one thing. Chris went through the trouble of compiling a statistic from his Greek leagues. Chris, why don't you hit us with that right now?
So yeah, we had hold on, let me find it real quick because I had it in my messages here.
So we're not doing our waiver claims on players because literally all the stars are getting dropped. So what we're more interested about is how you're spending your money to get these players.
So throughout the whole 8 leagues in the Greek Legion, there was 5,235 fab remaining for all of the non-eliminated players. So with 72 players remaining, that averaged out at 72.7 fab amount per person in each league. So we're sitting right at about 36.3% of everybody's fab is remaining.
So let's say you have, we'll round it up to 75. Let's say you have $75 in fab out of your $200 budget that you had to start the year. Now, some people have more, some people have less. One of the things that's going to help you at this point, especially with these last weeks of waiver claims, is to go and look and see how much fab your league mates have left, because there's a lot of them that just simply, they've gone all in the first couple weeks and maybe they have like $40. If you're holding a little bit more than that, you know that you don't have to do like a outstanding bid if all you have to do is $41 to beat the next highest fab holder. But it's tricky to navigate because if you look at this league, Horace Light, the person that got eliminated here was actually myself. Some of these players, Lamar Jackson let me down, 6 fantasy points. There's that 4 points from Jacobs. He exited the game. Kyle Pitts didn't help. Quinshon Judkins with 5.9 points. Justin Herbert with 4.3 points. But there's stars here, there's Javonte Williams, A.J. Brown, who we talked about, and Lamar Jackson's not going to put up another 6-point game. I can pretty much guarantee that for the rest of the season. So the question is, Chris, if you have 75 fab and these players, James Cook and whatnot, all hit the waiver wire, what are you spending if you need a running back and you're looking at James Cook, for instance?
Well, for one, I'm not guaranteeing that I'm going to get somebody after the week 12 cuts. So if I want to use that effectively, I would try to target 2 players, cut my fab in half, and try to get both of them that way. Especially since I'm thinking at least half of the teams that are around you have 0 fab or less than half of what you have. So that's how I would do it. I would target 2, and if I didn't get 1 or 2, I'd hope to survive to the following week and then spend it all next week.
Bush the Great, he's eliminated, but he walks away with 365 fab. Now, even though he's cut, that fab still works. This is a guy that he's above the budget, which means that he sold players to start the season for fab. A lot of people were so concerned with the week 9 cuts because that's when guillotine starts. So many people were concerned with that portion that they kind of overlooked what happens after that and fell victim to the last couple of weeks. One thing to consider is in week 9, your odds of getting cut are 1 of 12, but when you get to week 12, your odds of getting cut are 1 of 9. So I think those are the more important weeks. If you're holding a team like like San Francisco 49ers, if you're holding Christian McCaffrey, their bye week is in week 14, so you get past the guillotine portion. But in week 14, it's a head-to-head matchup, and you won't have them for that. So a lot of strategies involved. I know I was not concerned about the week 9 cuts. I'm more concerned about this next week and the week beyond. So that's and we're not going to talk about it because we're kind of lagging along. But in the pin section, your templates are here. These are updated every Tuesday morning. Ethan, Chris, and I, we come in and do the work so that you can see who's cut. Oh, look, I have it open. So you can actually see who's cut. This week it was Cheeky Hobson. We'll get to the cuts in a minute. And then the seating collapse, and we move on to the next week where teams are inputted there as well. And then that at the end of week 12 will be our seating 1 through 8. The highest remaining team, the highest season point total out of the remaining teams here will receive a $50 bonus as stated somewhere here, right here. Boom. $50 to the highest season points out of the 8 remaining teams. Going back to our segment, we're going to actually get into the gauntlet game. First things first, this week's highest score amongst all players in the gauntlet game is Cheeky Hobson. He scored 201 points off the back of Josh Allen, George Pickens, Ken Walker, Travion Henderson, Mark Andrews in that sweet fake out, man. That was so cool. Did you like that, Chris?
I did not see it.
Oh man, it's YouTube worthy to go back and look at that play. It was just such a well-designed play, executed perfectly. And then you saw Mark Andrews just booty scooting his way to the end zone, man. That was a lot of fun. So congratulations to Cheeky. That's $25 to you. It'll be added to any payouts you earn and attributed to you at the end of the year. These are the players that got cut out of the Egyptians. Chris, you want to name off these first few names?
Yep, we had Cheeky Hobson getting cut in one, Dead Man's Soul, Ethan Blinka 10, Jimby's Bimbies, Westlex, TB76, SmackDown MJD, and Run the Hurry Up. Those were our cuts for week 11.
What's crazy this week is that of course we're going to see a lot of familiar names because these are the people that come and play with each other. What I noticed was that we're not seeing like one person cut from a bunch of their leagues. So nobody's doing terrible. We just have a lot of big names that are getting cut, like our friend TB76, Mr. Todd. He was in each of these God leagues to start. So seeing him eliminated from one means he's in maybe 11 out of the 12. You can look back at our old episodes to see who was cut the previous weeks. For the Greeks, we had Chiefs Life 13. Remember this cut right here, guys. We're going to revisit this in a minute. We had Daffy Man. We had SmackDown. Jimby's Bimbies again. DMIC Media. Jay Morris. Work and Grind. And our friend Sarah. Those are the players cut. Chris, you want to talk about this finish for that league?
Oh yeah. So in Zeus Light, we had 4 players in the bottom 4 scorers for that league, separated by less than a point. So we had Connor C-Bomb. We had Chiefs Life 13. We had Big Timers 420, and if you scroll down to the bottom, we had Mark Madness 253, all at 110 point something. So yeah, it was weird. It was so crazy. So yeah, shout out to Connor for telling us about that. Definitely newsworthy, and congratulations on surviving.
Yes, and this is actually Chiefs Life's first elimination, and he's another player that started in all 12 of the God leagues. So to see him eliminated out of one of these leagues and still having it be by less than a point right here, like it's bittersweet, right? I like when people dominate. I'll say that because like I always say here at Ballsville, we love winners, right? We're all about the winners. We've had dozens, if not hundreds, of winners already this year. Mini game winners, free entry winners. I consider everybody a winner, but people do have to lose. But we like to focus on the winners. And yeah, so going forward, Romans, Chris, you want to read this list off?
Sure. We've got the Benninators. We got Tau 888, Big Winner 77, another entry from Jimby's Bimbies, Tennessee Nick. Sorry, Nick. 2 entries from Jonquil Bernies, Lynn JM, and I can't see if there's anything underneath that. So
no, that's
that
the 8th
it?
one. So yeah, Lynn JM,
Okay.
been with us a while, very, very competitive. So this particular individual actually left us a message in the past talking about how they loved our leagues because of the competition. It's something that we're getting. We love your feedback, and like some of you're vocal about it. A lot of people aren't, but we've had a lot of negative stuff that is being kind of like slandered in the shadows, for lack of a better term, I guess. But we choose to focus on the winners, the positive, the stuff that's going good, and your feedback when you tell us. Like this week, we heard somebody who got was at risk of being eliminated. I don't even think they got eliminated, but they said, "This is so exciting! You guys make me love fantasy football again." And probably the best one we'll hear all year. But I actually have a couple screenshots. I don't share them because I don't tell people, hey, your comment's going to be shared. But they're positive feedback. It keeps us going. It lets us know that we don't have to deal with the haters and the copycats and the mockery and all that crap, that we can just kind of come back to earth, have fun with the game, do what we're doing now, display our cuts, things like that, and just focus on the winners. It's because that's what we want to do. It's what Ballsville is all about. Chris, do you have anything to add on top of any of that?
Just in procedure, I'd like to know, just so we get it out there, when is the final waivers going to take place for this league?
Awesome question. So if you guys are in any of these leagues, we do these long messages. So a lot of these messages, like this one right here, was designed by me, and then the managers went and modified it as they saw fit. But it's going to be the update week 11 to 12, and it does talk about after week 12. So what's going to happen? The first thing that's going to happen after I go to sleep at the Monday night game. I wake up at 3 a.m, guys. Chris, Ethan, they have things to do, but as soon as we can on Tuesday, that's when we execute the next phase of these games. So as soon as we can after week 12, Tuesday morning, you're gonna lose your 3 IR spots. You're gonna have to control your waiver process with the loss of those spots. So you're gonna have to decide who's gonna stay, who's gonna go. You're gonna have waivers run as they normally do on Wednesday evening for you East Coasters. That's 3 p.m. for the West Coast, 6 p.m. for the East Coast. After that waiver processing, it's going to be open free agency for over 24 hours. And that's going to allow you to modify your rosters. And then as the games kick off on Thursday, all moves are going to lock. Waivers are going to lock. Everything's going to lock. That's it. The game becomes automated. We go into the best ball portion, and then we watch each other's opponents. If you're in the light realm of a god, we're going to send the link to the dark realm, put it front and center for you to join, so you can watch your opponent from the other realm. If you're the 1 seed in the light, you're going to battle the 8 seed in the dark. You could be in both leagues to watch it play out. All that matters is that face up. If you're the 8 seed and you beat the 1st seed, you get a bonus. If you're the 1st seed and you beat the 8 seed by 50, you get a bonus. So there's bonuses there to be had. But that's how we're going to transition from waivers to free agency to locking into the best ball mode. And then you just set your team off with these deeper rosters, watch your opponents, and pray for the best, and hope you just win out. And after week 14, every win's going to award you a payout, and you're going to stack those on to anything that you won so far and whatever you win in the future. A lot of runner-ups, a lot of semifinalists, God champions, and ultimately in week 17, 12 God champions will come together for the grand championship, and that person's going to be very happy walking away with a big payout, and a lot of staggering other payouts along the way. So did that answer the question, Chris? I know it was kind of a lot to digest.
Oh yeah, so we've got basically 8 days left of waivers. So you might want to use your fab. If you don't use it, you lose it. So get to spending.
Absolutely, that's a good tip. We have a player here who's in the chat. This is Soul Stiller, who's still in Zeus, and she has all 200 of her fab. So she's not spending any fab, and she has all these players to come and boost her league. This is what I'm talking about, though. So you have a $200 fab, you have a $150 fab, another $200 fab. So if I have these, I'm looking at $72 here, $28 here. So I know if I place a $29 waiver, Coda Bear cannot beat that. You know, if I go up to a $73 waiver, I know that Mark Madness, I think he's eliminated, but he can't beat that. So that's kind of where I would start if I had that $200, and just plenty of talent to go after. These weeks are so exciting. Last week's waiver wire was very exciting. Chris, do you have like a waiver claim that you're proud of from last week, or anybody that you saw go for an outrageous amount or anything?
Not in a gauntlet league. I'm pretty proud of one that happened in a different league. Ended up getting Jamar Chase pretty cheap. Not that he helped me much, but I still survived, so I have him going forward. But yeah, that was a good one.
Heck yes. I mean, yeah, having Jamar Chase going forward is going to. Hey, so if you have Jamar Chase, let me ask you: are you excited if Joe Burrow comes back? Are you kind of afraid of the rust and the way that Joe Flacco's been hyper targeting him at times? How do you feel about that?
I would assume as soon as he's back, it's because he's ready, and if he's ready, then he's better than Flacco. So I think that helps Higgins. I think it helps everyone. I think it helps Chase. I think it helps Chase Brown. Everybody's going to be affected positively when Burrow gets back.
Yeah, I believe it too. Flacco, he's always been a pretty good quarterback, but he's never really been like the pillar of consistency. So even though things might look good, I know I started him in DFS and he really didn't help me out much. I mean, Pittsburgh shows up at times too, but so these are our cuts. We do this every week. There's so much action in these gauntlet leagues. It's really fun to be a part of. If you're not part of it, next year we will have a more refined product. Our game will be more tailor made the way that we want it, the way that that we had imagined. We're going to make changes based off of brainstorming. With Chris and Ethan, who are going to be the managers for the game, along with our other managers from other games. We like to get together when we can. It's hard to find time, but we like to collaborate ideas. So I might have an idea. I'll bring it to Chris. I'll bring it to Ethan, and we'll talk about it. And then Chris has an idea about my idea that I go, holy crap, I didn't even think about that. And then Ethan chimes in, or Sarah chimes in, Zubicus, and we compile an idea. That's the way this game was born. This game was born because somebody came and had an idea, and then they brought it to me, and then practical application, writing everything out, created the game. That's the way we progress. Your criticism helps us. We do better every year. We grow every year because we listen to you. We tried 14 playoffs when redraft started 2 years ago, and that didn't hold. It turned off a lot of people because you could do good and just kind of lose because somebody wasn't setting their rosters at the end of the year and they allowed somebody to walk in. So that's why we introduced the median, which I don't even like, but we introduced it to redraft because it does help us find the best rosters. It's a fair game, and that's our design. Our last little thing we're going to talk about, Chris, is going to be our website. How often do you think you go on this website?
At least a couple times a week. Actually, probably more than that because I go there for Joe's Journal to get my DFS content. I check out Sticky Picky's scoreboard, and I'm always checking people's player ownership. I still do that even though we're 11 weeks into the season. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. And when I need to see a rule for a league and I want to know what I've missed, I check out those two.
Absolutely. So the website is a lot to maintain, guys. One of the things that we always stick to is when we have writings about a game, it's posted up. Usually it's in like documents and stuff, and in documents you can actually see when the last time it was modified. That helps our cause. You don't get that option on the website, but it's so much to maintain. Whenever I go onto the website and edit something, I put a little shade of color, like a red or a blue, and I put the date that it was edited because I want everything to be kind of up front and center. We never change rules of a game. We never change the only thing we changed this year was the little minutia we just talked about when the waiver process would be, when the seeding would be, that kind of thing. But we never make changes that's going to affect how the game is played or what you signed up for. We did change. I'm going to tell you guys something I really don't talk about. The reason why it's called the Gauntlet game and not the Triathlon was because there was a lawsuit threatened over fucking fantasy football about the name. So it's the Gauntlet game, and I think it's cooler. But I've done a good job of not saying that, but like it needs to be said because people ask the question, why isn't it called the Triathlon anymore? Well, there already exists a triathlon. It's actual sport. But I was kind of forced to change it, and I don't have the energy or time to kind of debate anything, so I just said fine, and it's the Gauntlet game. And we have a bunch of media on TikTok and on YouTube that you can go back and look that all says the other name. I'm not going to change it. It's part of our history. It's there to stay. Yeah, we are where we are. We continue to grow and get better, and we're kind of proud of it. So anyways, getting back to the program, go to the website, go to Sticky Scoreboards. This guy does a phenomenal job of compiling information. He's getting faster with the results. You can see this was updated November 17th. It was actually, last night, right? Yeah.
Yep.
You want to go find your game, the Gauntlet right here. You can also look at Dynasty Redraft and the Best Ball games if you want. These are our 5 games. If you come up here and you sort by weekly, it's going to look like this. What we have here is our week 11 highest score, Cheeky Hobson, like we talked about, 201. If this was the site, you could click on his name and it'll show you his players and what they scored, which is very useful because if he has like Josh Allen score 50, you go in your league and you say, well, shit, what does Josh Allen score in my league? Oh, it's the same. Cool. Checks out, I look at this often just to see where I'm at. You can actually search your name and see how you're doing in all your leagues without having to navigate Sleeper. Go do yourself a favor. Check out all that we have to offer, not only the scoreboards, but the tools. And it's all there to help you to understand the games, to succeed in the games, to dominate your other leagues, and just kind of reassure you, like Chris said, when you want to know what you're playing, just go and look at the rules. They're there. They're the same. They're not going to change. Everything's on the up and up, and this is how we enjoy fantasy football. I don't know, Chris, what do you think? Do you have anything to say?
Oh no, I'm just excited. We're getting to the nitty gritty here.
Yeah, totally. It's a fun time. especially when we start talking the best ball bracket and we start seeing literally half of the players get eliminated every week, and pretty soon it's going to be down to 24 players and then 12 God champions, and then that week 17 is going to be very exciting. It's going to have a lot of content. This whole show is about just the gauntlet game because there's so much activity throughout the season. We also do the Ballsville update. That's part of the fantasy football, the FF soundboard tomorrow with Sarah and Chris. And that's kind of crammed in because we can kind of, introduce that information. These are your scoring leaders, or these are the teams that are dominating, undefeated rosters, matchups, stuff like that. But there's so much to the gauntlet game, and it's been really fun to watch it play out. We were concerned about the roster expansion last week, how that would play out, and it was pretty well received. I don't know. I had a good time. Chris, what do you think about that roster expansion? Pretty unorthodox.
It makes sense because we've cut teams. Those players have to go somewhere, and not only that, but you get to pick up guys that you've been wanting, but can't get rid of players on your team. So you're picking up more. It's good. It'll even itself out.
Absolutely, yeah. And not to mention, like this week and next week, the teams that are getting cut, these are teams that have been picking up other superstars off of waivers, and then so these are stacked rosters that are getting cut. It's not just your average, guillotine league where it's like X amount of people are getting cut, and these are stacked rosters at this point. So pretty cool to see going forward. The roster expansion helps to facilitate the need for those players. So the need to spend fab, like Soul Stiller we talked about. I don't know how she's surviving every week and not making waiver moves. That's beyond me. But she's in prime striking distance right now to like really boost her team. So one last thing that I wanted to say. Yes, definitely spend that fab. I want to say what's up. She's actually in chat, guys. This is my lovely wife, Francis. Zupicus in chat. Cowboy, Sarah's around. Todd Barber says he still has 10 out of 12 left. Thank you guys for tuning in. We appreciate your support. The last thing I want to say, guys, is I find this fun. Running leagues is fun. I like playing leagues, and a lot of the times during these moments, my rosters suffer. So I haven't been doing great in fantasy football as a player, but it's because if I have the option of running a proper league or pushing trades to make sure I dominate, I'd rather run the league. I'd rather have fun with players like yourself that are diehards. We pride ourselves on our community, on the fact that we recruit in the off season when people are burnt out of fantasy football. We find, players like Chris and players like Ethan. We find really good assets because those are the people that really love the game. And then if you like what we do, we want to get to know you. We want to see you, invite you up on the podcast. But everything that we do, I hate being on camera, but we do this to deliver the information to you. We build the website so that you have like a source where everything's consolidated. The Discord for the community to get to know each other. Come watch games with us and talk about what we see. Giveaways, freebies. It's all part of what Ballsville offers and what we are. And regardless of what anybody says, we're just going to keep on doing that and keep on providing the best experience we can. It's been a fun night. It was a weird week. This was a really important show to us. Just kind of keep steamrolling. Before we get out of here, Chris, do you have any final thoughts that you want to say going forward?
Good luck, and I hope your players don't do well because that means I get to pick them up.
And we have this comment here. Sarah, we forgot Sarah. Yeah, of course we picked up Sarah in the offseason. She's one of our favorites here. Degenerates and diehards, we couldn't possibly forget her. Join us tomorrow, guys, for the FF soundboard. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching this later. We hope that we convey the information that we want to get out there. We can't really just kind of blurt things out. So we kind of have to narrow down what it is that we talk about. And, we hope it translates. But that's that. We're moving on to the next week. And like Chris said, eight days of fab and we get into best ball. So good luck, everybody. We hope you survive next week and tune in tomorrow.